Robert Downey Jr. and Susan Levin's 17-year marriage. Iron Man star Robert Downey Jr. met his wife Susan Levin in 2003 while on set, and the couple was married only 2 years later. At the time of their first encounter, Levin was a producer and executive vice president for a film studio. Since tying the knot, the two Hollywood talents have collaborated on several films, and there's a special reason they've decided to work together: to avoid spending too much time apart. How cute! In discussing his personal life, Robert said that Susan played a significant role in helping the actor sober up. It sounds like these two have a pretty great relationship. Lisa Kudrow and Michelle Stern's 17-year marriage. There are few shows as famous or beloved as Friends, and it's fitting that Lisa Kudrow's own marriage sounds like it could have come straight out of an episode of the hit sitcom. She and Michelle Stern met while he was dating one of her roommates, and after the two broke up, Kudrow and Stern began dating. Of course, we're sure there was some time between the breakup and the second relationship. They were eventually married around a year after Kudrow got her star role. Her character's pregnancy had to be written in so that she could still act after becoming pregnant with the couple's first child. Matt and Luciana Damon's 17-year marriage. Matt and Luciana Damon probably have one of the best first initial meetings on this list. Luciana was bartending at a bar in Miami when Matt and his film crew came in for a drink. As you might imagine, people quickly recognized the star, and he decided to take refuge behind the bar with Luciana. She then put him to work making drinks since he'd trained as a bartender for a part in a previous movie. He obviously made good drinks because the two were wed in 2005 and have been together ever since. They have 3 children together, and Luciana has one more child from a previous relationship, Elizabeth Banks, and Max Hendelman's 19-year marriage. Even though they've only technically been married for 19 years, actress Elizabeth Banks and her producer husband have been together for much longer than that. The two met in 1992 while in college, but waited until 2003 to finally tie the knot. They have 2 children together, and Banks has attributed their success to always making decisions together as a couple, including the decision to work together. She's also said that it helps that she's more traditional regarding marriage, and didn't go into it thinking that she could ever get a divorce if things got rough. Bella Davis and Julius Tennen's 19-year marriage. Despite immense fame and success, Violet Davis's marriage to Julius Tennen has largely been kept out of the public eye. Davis said the two met shortly after she prayed to God for a husband and were married in 2003. Violet explained that she makes it a priority to spend time with her husband. The two also have a child together, along with Tennen's 2 children from a previous relationship. Davis also said that when she was praying, she prayed to find a man who'd already had children, so she wouldn't be pressured to have any herself. It looks like whoever's up there was listening. Julia Roberts and Daniel Motor's 20-year marriage. While many long-term relationships on this list read like fairy tale romances, that's not always the case. It certainly wasn't the case for Julia Roberts and Daniel Motor, despite the two being together for 20 years in 2022. They were both in long-term relationships and reportedly started an affair with each other. The pair eventually broke things off with their partners and married each other shortly afterward. But while rumors and tabloids allege the couple began as a love affair, Julia and Daniel insist otherwise. Despite the rumors, both have denied being romantically involved before their former relationships ended. They now have 3 children together and are reportedly happier than ever. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. have been married for 20 years. Some stars find it natural to work together with their significant others, but Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. are not 2 of those stars. They've obviously been there, done that. They met on the set of 1997's I Know What You Did Last Summer, and they've said they'll probably never work together in another film again. Of course, after 20 years of marriage, the reason behind the decision isn't that they don't get along. Instead, they've stated that they don't think it would be exciting for the audience to see a couple playing another couple on screen. We're not too sure we agree, but to each their own. Tina Fey and Jeff Richman's 21-year marriage. It shouldn't come as too big of a surprise that Tina Fey is married to a fellow comedian. She met Jeff Richmond at a theater in 1993, but they didn't wed until 2001. Today, Fey is pretty much a household name, and her husband has since shifted focus to working in music. He's worked in Saturday Night Live's music department and produced a couple of shows Faye has starred in. Faye's husband has said that when he first saw her perform on stage, she quickly set herself apart from any comedian in the room, calling her one of the funniest people he'd ever seen. Jerry and Jessica Seinfeld's 22-year marriage. Legendary comedian Jerry Seinfeld met his wife Jessica at the gym where he made the first move. When Jerry hit on her, he didn't know that she was 2 months into a new marriage. But he must have made her laugh because Jessica divorced her husband a couple of months later, and she and Jerry were married by the following year. The media had a field day with the timeline of it all, but the couple seemed unbothered. The two have been happily married ever since and have 3 children together. Jerry has said that the couple's sense of humor has been a large part of their marital success. David and Victoria Beckham's 23-year marriage. David and Victoria Beckham celebrated 23 years of marriage in 2022. However, despite being one of the most powerful duos in Hollywood, not many people thought it would last when the former member of the Spice Girls announced she was dating football superstar David Beckham. They dated for 2 years before eventually tying the knot in 1999 and having 4 children together. And, despite the curse that seems to break many Hollywood marriages, they've stayed together for over 2 decades. The couple moved to Los Angeles after David signed with LA Galaxy, a move that shocked the sports. But the couple moving continents together indicated the strength of their marriage. Cindy Crawford and Randy Gerber's 24-year marriage. Superstar and model Cindy Crawford met her husband Randy Gerber while the two were modeling together, and they quickly became friends. They stayed platonic as Cindy was already married at the time, but after her divorce, they started dating and were wed in 1998. Crawford has said the success of her long marriage comes from the fact that the two of them are friends and mutually respect each other. She's also said that she's constantly asking older couples for advice and secrets to a long and loving marriage. We're guessing she'll one day pass on all those wise words to the couple's 2 children. Will and Jada Pinkett Smith's 25-year marriage. Will and Jada Pinkett Smith's union never seems to not be in the news. The two began dating in 1995. And were officially wed in 1997, after Will divorced his ex-wife Sheree Zampino. Since then, the two have had their ups and downs, the most recent coming after the infamous Oscars slap. But that's not even the most surprising thing to come out of the icons' roller coaster relationship. Many fans were caught off guard when the two revealed they were in an open marriage. The couple opened up about it in 2021, explaining that they'd decided to no longer be in a monogamous relationship and instead focus on what makes each of them happy. Sarah Jessica Parker and Matthew Broderick's 25-year marriage. Sex and the City star Sarah Jessica Parker didn't have as much trouble finding love as the character she played in the hit show She's Been Married to fellow actor Matthew Broderick for 25 years. The pair met on the set of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying and tied the knot the next year. Fast forward 25 years, and the couple has 3 sweet children together. When asked what their secret to a long marriage is, Parker said that she tries to keep their relationship private. A tall task when you're in Hollywood, but apparently it's worked. Joel McHale and Sarah Williams's 26-year marriage. If you watch Community, you might be surprised to see Joel McHale on this list. Who would have thought the on-screen bachelor had been a real-life husband for over 2 decades? McHale met his wife Sarah Williams while the two were still in college. The actor previously said that he didn't really have much luck with women before meeting his wife, and even asked a friend to help him out with Williams. Joel McHale and Sarah Williams' 26-year marriage. Joel said that he eventually wore her down and convinced her to marry him after she took pity on him and gave him a date. The couple now has 2 sons together, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos's 26-year marriage. Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos met in 1995 during a screen test for All My Children. The two began dating and eloped shortly afterward, in what turned out to be a quick happening but lasting marriage. 3 children, and 26 years later, the couple is still going strong. In interviews, they often discuss the challenges of raising their children and shuffling between parenthood and work. But the couple has admitted that things are a bit weird nowadays. Here's why. Their children have gone off to college, and they've said having an empty household feels weird now. Time flies, even more so when you're in love. Faith Hill and Tim McGraw's 26-year marriage. Tim McGraw said that his sisters were angry with him when he decided to tie the knot with fellow country music star Faith Hill in 1996. But it might not be for the reason you're thinking. The doting sisters got mad because instead of having a fancy wedding, the couple decided to get married at McGraw's aunt's house in Louisiana. The sneaky lovers invited their families under the pretense that they had a family softball game. But then they showed up in wedding attire and said their I do's. His sisters were a bit angry because they didn't get to dress up for the big day. Still, we imagine it was probably a welcome surprise. Hugh Jackman and Deborah Lee Furness's 26-year marriage. Hugh Jackman has said that his marriage to Deborah Lee Furness hasn't felt like the kind of hard work people often say that marriage is, despite being together for 26 years. The couple met on the set of an Australian TV show and were wed only a year later. Jackman said he knew she was the one, only 2 weeks after meeting her. However, that's not the only reason the duo's relationship might seem odd to some. Furness is actually Jackman's senior by around 13 years. When there is a significant age gap in Hollywood, it's usually the man who's older than the woman, so these two getting together was quite surprising for many. Even Nancy Carell's 27-year marriage. Steve and Nancy Carell might have one of the best love stories on this list, without even taking into account that the two have been married for 27 years. Steve and Nancy met while she was a student in an improv class Steve was teaching in the 1990s. The two hit it off after Steve began visiting her in the bar where she worked, and they were married in 1995. Since then, the couple has worked on various projects together, including when Nancy showed up on The Office to play Michael Scott's girlfriend for a time. She's also worked with him on The Daily Show. Michelle Pfeiffer and David E. Kelley's 29-year marriage. Actress Michelle Pfeiffer has been married to writer and producer David E. Kelley for some 29 years, and the two apparently have a pretty simple way of keeping things solid. Pfeiffer has said that she believes the secret to a long and lasting marriage is to simply pick the right person. She's also said that she would never risk her wonderful marriage to David by working with him professionally. Michelle said that after watching other couples who looked happy take on a project together, only to file for divorce shortly later, she'd never do the same. John Travolta and Kelly Preston's 29-year marriage. Before they were married in 1991, John Travolta and Kelly Preston each went through a couple of unsuccessful relationships. However, it was steady going after the two found each other. They'd been married for 29 years when Preston succumbed to breast cancer in 2020 after a 2-year battle. During those nearly 3 decades of adventure, they had 3 children together, one of whom passed away at the age of 16 back in 2009. Since his wife's death, Travolta has spoken openly about their marriage. He compared it to the relationship between an audience and an actor. It had its ups and downs, but they always worked through them. And Trudy Styler's 30-year marriage. You might expect rock stars to be among the most unsuccessful regarding long-term relationships. And that's sometimes true. However, Sting has managed to keep his marriage to Trudy Styler going for 3 decades. The two met while Styler was working on set with Sting's ex-wife, and later started dating. They eventually married in 1993 and now have 4 children. Sting has shared his secrets to a happy marriage, and they don't sound all that difficult. In an interview with People, he said, "We love each other, but we actually like each other." And that's an important distinction there. Love is passion and all of that stuff. But actually liking somebody and enjoying someone's company is something slightly different, and it lasts longer. Steven Spielberg and Kate Capshaw's 31-year marriage. Legendary director Steven Spielberg met his second wife, Kate Capshaw, on the set of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Even though the two hit it off, their relationship would have to wait until after Spielberg married and divorced Amy Irving. Spielberg and Capshaw rekindled their relationship and were eventually married in 1991. They had their first child only a year later. Today they both have 1 child from a previous marriage and 5 more children together. Capshaw retired from acting in 2001, although her husband Spielberg is still prolific as ever and continues to direct movies. The power couple is among the most wealthy in Hollywood. Bryan Cranston and Robin Dearden's 33-year marriage. Bryan Cranston and Robin Dearden first met while the two were dating entirely different people. However, there was still a spark, because Dearden said that whenever they first met, she remembered him being one of the funniest people she's ever been around. Some 3 decades later, the two have been married for 33 years and have one daughter, who's also taking up the family business and has delved into acting. Interestingly enough, Cranston reportedly proposed to his now wife while the two were in the tub taking a bath together, because he said that he knew he'd cry when he eventually did propose. Hugh Laurie and Joe Green's 33-year marriage. Being an actor can be extremely difficult on a relationship. Hugh Laurie and his wife Jo Green are prime examples. Despite now being married for 33 years, the two almost broke up during Laurie's time on House. He moved to Hollywood from London while his wife stayed behind, and he's since revealed that the 8-year stint took its toll on the two's relationship. We really can't even imagine what that must have been like. Luckily though, the couple is still together and happily married. Laurie is back in London, and the couple has 3 children. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson's 33-year marriage. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson would have to wait for Hanks to get divorced from his first wife before the two announced they were dating in 1986. The couple were married only 2 years later and had 2 children together. Hanks has made no secret of one of the main reasons why he believes their relationship has lasted so long. The actor has said that the two try and keep their private lives private. More specifically, he's said, "No journalist has ever been in my house, and no photographs have ever been taken of where I live. I don't parade my family out for display, which is the way it will stay." Michael J. Fox and Tracy Pollan's 34-year marriage. Michael J. Fox met his now wife while the two were starring in Family Ties. However, Fox would have to wait until after Pollan ended her relationship with actor Kevin Bacon some years later. He said he didn't wait long though, and the two began dating shortly afterward. They were married less than a year later. However, despite the quick marriage, it hasn't all been roses. According to the two, Fox was diagnosed with Parkinson's 3 years after they eloped, and the two have talked extensively about how it's changed their lives and marriage. Today, Fox is one of the biggest proponents of Parkinson's research, and the two have said that they continue to rely on each other. Kevin Bacon and Kyra Sedgwick's 34-year marriage. Actor Kevin Bacon, unsurprisingly, met his wife Kyra Sedgwick on the set of a movie the two were filming together called Lemon Sky. They began dating and were married only a year later, but it turned out to be one of the most successful marriages in Hollywood. Sedgwick has said that the two simply got lucky in finding each other, and it's hard to disagree, considering the turnover rate for Hollywood marriages. Another fun fact about the two involves an appearance they made on PBS's Find Your Roots, in which they both learned they were cousins. Well, not close cousins, but 10th cousins once removed. Executed teleprompter horseshoes. Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Brad Hall's 35-year marriage. Actress and comedian Julia Louis-Dreyfus met her husband Brad Hall way before she began starring in Seinfeld. The two actually met while they were still in college, and Hall was in a comedy troupe. Of course, she has said that back then, her husband had much longer Jesus hair and a big beard. Hall is, unsurprisingly, also a comedian, and has appeared alongside his wife in Saturday Night Live. The couple is as strong as ever, and in 2021, Louis-Dreyfus posted a photo of both of them going for a swim to celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary. Jamie Lee Curtis and Christopher Guest's 37-year marriage. Jamie Lee Curtis is from a pretty famous Hollywood family, so it's no surprise that she's no stranger to the complications of a Hollywood marriage. Both of her parents had around a dozen marriages between them and eventually divorced themselves. However, maybe that's one of the reasons she's been able to cultivate such a long-lasting marriage with her husband, screenwriter Christopher Guest. The two celebrated 37 years together in 2021. That's a pretty impressive feat, even if you're not a Hollywood couple. However, it's really astonishing when you consider the many rocky relationships shared by her parents. Denzel and Pauletta Washington's 38-year marriage. Denzel Washington's 38-year marriage to his wife Pauletta is one for the books. The two met while on set for a biopic and were later reintroduced through a mutual friend at a party. Only one night later, Pauletta would find herself sneaking into a play and just happening to sit down right next to her future husband. Despite all of these obvious signs from the universe, Denzel would have to propose around 3 separate times to finally get Pauletta to marry him. The two are known for their commitment to their family and have even said that the secret to their marriage is a strong spiritual foundation that involves marriage, work, and peace of mind. Stephen and Maureen Van Zant's 39-year marriage. Stephen and Maureen Van Zant's marriage has been almost as interesting as their careers. Before playing his iconic character on The Sopranos, Stephen was part of Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band. He and Maureen then played a couple together on The Sopranos, and Stephen has said that the secret to their marriage is giving each other enough space to pursue their interests and have their own lives. That's honestly some good advice, and it seems to have worked for the two since they've been married for 39 years. Of course, it probably didn't hurt that Stephen's best man at their wedding was Bruce Springsteen. That's a good luck charm if there ever was one. Keith Richards and Patty Hansen's 39-year marriage. Legendary rocker Keith Richards has likely defied expectations with his marriage to his wife, Patty Hansen. The two have been together for 39 years and are still going strong. The two formally met during Richards' 36th birthday party and were married 4 years later on his 40th birthday. And of course, what would a rock star wedding be if they didn't choose to get eloped in Cabo? The couple now has 2 daughters together. Richards has since described life as totally different after meeting his wife. There was life before Patty and life after, he said. Bono and Allie Hewson's 40-year marriage. Bono and wife Allie Hewson's 40-year marriage might just take the prize for one of the longest and sweetest in Hollywood. The two met the same year that Bono formed his band in high school, and Hewson has said that she remembers going to watch them play in the school gym. That's about as long ago as it is possible to fall in love and find your soulmate. The two have had 4 children together and are known for their philanthropy. Hewson specifically has dedicated herself to helping victims of Chernobyl and advocating for a nuclear-free world. Aside from that, the couple is known for being among Hollywood's wealthiest stars. Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne's 40-year marriage. Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne met each other in 1970, but the two wouldn't start dating until 1979. They would tie the knot in 1982 and have been together ever since. However, like most marriages, they've had their ups and downs. The two split briefly in 2016 after it was revealed that Ozzy had been unfaithful. The two also had an incident in 1989 when Ozzy reportedly attacked Sharon, who called the police and had him put in treatment. The musician has also publicly battled drugs and alcohol in the past, and the two often talk about the issue publicly. Despite all of this, they renewed their vows in 2017 and have been going strong ever since. Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman's 40-year marriage. This one is a bit misleading because Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman remain technically married but are no longer together. The two announced their split in 2017. Perlman has said they maintain a great relationship despite no longer being together romantically, and that they simply agree on everything, so there was no real need to file for divorce officially. The two have 3 children together, whom they often still see together. DeVito and Perlman met in 1971 and moved in together only 2 weeks later. However, they waited a bit longer to tie the knot and weren't married until 1982. Mel Brooks and Anne Bancroft's 41-year marriage. Mel Brooks and Anne Bancroft had been together for 41 years when she passed away in 2005. The two met on the set of The Perry Como Show, and before her death, Bancroft described how Brooks followed her around after their first chat. She quickly began returning the favor, she said, and the two were married in 1964. They had 1 child together, and Brooks recently released a memoir in which he delves into the two's marriage and time spent together. During an interview before the book's release, Brooks shared a saying his wife used to tell him. She always said, "Follow your heart, it will be a good adventure." "What an adventure life turned out to be," he said. Samuel L. Jackson and LaTanya Richardson's 42-year marriage. Samuel L. Jackson met his wife LaTanya Richardson while the two were in college, and after they were married, they both promised each other to stay together no matter what. And that's what they've done for 42 years. Richardson even stayed with Jackson when he developed a drug problem in the 1990s and got him into rehab. Today, the two have one child together and sometimes collaborate on different projects. Part of the reason the two decided to stay together through thick and thin, they've said, is to change the narrative around Black people and children being raised by single mothers. Jackson himself has cited his own upbringing by a single parent as driving motivation to be there for his daughter. Meryl Streep and Don Gummer's 44-year marriage. Actress Meryl Streep has been married to sculptor Don Gummer for 44 years, but the relationship didn't exactly get off on the happiest of terms. Streep and Gummer met while she was clearing out the apartment where she'd been staying with her former partner, who just passed away due to lung cancer. Gummer had shown up to help her clear out the apartment with her brother. The rest is history. The two have 4 children together and, despite her tremendous success, have largely managed to keep their personal lives out of public view during their decades of marriage. Dr. Phil and Robin McGraw's 46-year marriage. Dr. Phil might be the face of his marriage with Robin McGraw, but that doesn't mean that his wife isn't just as successful. Robin is an accomplished author of several books and even has her own show. The two have been married for some 46 years, and she's said they hit it off immediately, going as far as to call their first date love at first sight. Robin has also noted that one of the secrets to the couple's long-lasting marriage has been just to have fun. That's not bad advice, especially not when it's coming from someone who gives advice for a living and who's been married for over 4 decades. Bill and Camille Cosby's 58-year marriage. Disgraced comedian Bill Cosby's marriage to his wife Camille has lasted for 58 years. That's despite revelations of assault, drugging women, and his recent sentencing. Despite numerous women coming forward and accusing Bill of sexual misconduct, Camille has always maintained that he is innocent, even going as far as to release public statements saying that the media had failed to obtain the facts fully. The two have had 5 children together, although only 3 are still alive. One was the victim of a murder, and the other died from renal disease.